Alrighty, so why do you want a girlfriend? It's been a while since I've come back to this question, but I got to read a little bit of Alan Watts and The Way of Zen, and it got me thinking back to syntax and what words mean and my psychedelic moments and yada yada. But it's quite obvious what we want, right? We want love, companionship, something towards marriage, something to have kids with, sex. Dear God, right? Honestly, it's pretty obvious what we want. But there came a big problem. I guess I don't know, I'm like a part of the lucky few who got to experience a lot of relationships in his 20s to the point where honestly I'm really jaded right now. Pretty fucking jaded. So I'm seeing someone right now, and her friends kept asking me over and over again, what are you guys? Are you guys boyfriend and girlfriend? Are you guys official? What are you guys? It came to me that honestly, we're dating, and I just added we're dating exclusively. I just kept it that way. And they kept insisting, so does that mean your boyfriend girlfriend? Does that mean your boyfriend girlfriend? I was just like, not saying no, but at the same time just going, we're dating exclusively, just reinforcing the same concept. And let me explain why. Because I think it's really important, especially if you were to ask Alan Watts, you know, if you were to tell him that you wanted a girlfriend, I think he would understand that that also implies that you want to be a boyfriend. And when we really look into things, this entire thing, boyfriend, girlfriend, the concept of dating, this phenomenon, what we call modern dating, it doesn't exist, bro. It's not a real thing. This is try imagining a new holiday. It's almost like the very thing that Nietzsche was talking about. God is dead. What new great games and rituals shall we invent now? Right? Like, it's basically like that, except we didn't really ask for that. It's modernity and technology and capitalism that really did this for us. It kind of just threw us into the mix of the whole thing. There was no dating in the Bible. There was no dating before that too. And it wasn't even part of Greek culture. And as we know, Western civilization is the marriage between Jerusalem and Athens. Most of the time, it's been arranged. So we're working with a concept that is honestly as far back as you could really push things, maybe around the 1800s. Like, really, if you really were to push it. But the thing only gained a lot of traction around the 1920s. So we're talking about an 100-year concept that was socially constructed. One thing I think Xander gets really right, and this is something that he knocked my delusion away, because I didn't understand why the thing wasn't working, right? Why will relationships keep falling apart? And there's plenty of other reasons, but I like to look at things in a different manner, because I don't want to just shoot down, and I don't think Xander really means to come off like this player toxic type. I think what he's trying to do is just be the messenger. That he doesn't insist that you become a player, but he basically downright implies it, doesn't he? But he would say this thing, like, being a boyfriend or a girlfriend or being in a relationship is an agreement to words. And I think he gets that perfectly right. This is a big problem. So for 100 years, we've had a gaslighting campaign, I believe, on men, on this concept. And I'm going to explain to you a little bit about why I think this is a rough concept for us. But first, let's revisit what modernity is, like the effect of technology. It commodifies the human experience. Everything about the human experience becomes a fast food drive-through experience. It provides comfort and security. This is inherently feminine. No part about this implies war, nature, conquering, conquest. It implies nothing. There's nothing masculine about modernity and providing safety and security. It's that classic Aldous Huxley quote: I don't want safety, I don't want comfort, I want God, I want real danger, I want adventure. All this is inherently feminine. So what we've done with modernity is provide the onset of feminism. Never before in history have females have this much power, this much agency, this much optionality, to the point where honestly, like, it is gynocentric, if you ask me. And that's fair enough. Fair enough. All right. It is what it is. This turns dating, because we're in this environment, this turns dating into a marketable buying and selling experience. Think about it now. If you don't have a kick-ass Instagram, you're sort of undateable to the average woman's eyes. This is like trying out a car. Partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, dating, all this crap, right? All this stuff is like trying out a car. And because we're in a buying, selling environment, everything about the human experience becomes that. As long as you have the receipt, you can return it. You kind of see where I'm getting at? Kind of see what's happened, right? And we already kind of know this, with especially with the Tinder apps and social media, dating apps, I meant, but nonetheless. So all this has led to social prioritization for females. Male disposability to me is at an all-time high because for 100 years we've been gaslit. Modernity and technology is inherently feminine. I think an AC was invented so that you could bang a girl in comfort, basically. Make things much more safer for the ladies, if you know what I mean. But it all circles back around to this problem now, where historically male disposability was rewarded for something, whether it be honor, valor, authority over something, a province in your name for your courage, some sort of woman or family, blah, blah, blah. Now you just take it for granted. You get nothing. It's just expected. Women and children first, bro. Men to the hindsight. For no reason. I'm saying all this to kind of, you know how Alan Watts put it in this phrase: when you salt meat to keep it fresh for a little bit longer, when you're ready to cook it, you have to unsalt it. It's kind of like that. And that's what culture and modernity has done to us. We've been too salted with all this bullshit of dating, of boyfriend and girlfriend. So essentially, what you're asking, if you were to ask Watts, this is to me, I've read a lot of his books. I've listened to almost, if not every podcast and audiobook he has, all of it. To me, if you ask that question, if you were to request a girlfriend, he would say, how can you be something made up? Because to want a girlfriend is to imply that you want to be a boyfriend. How can you be something that was not only made up, but it was never for you? It was never in your favor at all. Again, I'm not against relationships, okay? So when I was presented this question, I stuck to my guns of dating exclusively because the word dating alone, it's like we all intuitively know this, don't we? We all intuitively know what dating means. But when you start to begin to dive into it, you realize that there are some common ideas to it, but almost everyone has a slightly different connotation. Some people date around with a lot of people. Some people date exclusively, date one person at a time. Some people consider the dating period to last this long rather than the first couple of dates, right? It's just, it can go all sorts of different directions. But the problem when I answer dating exclusively, it's because you're already taking this concept and then you're adding another layer of complexity to it. Alan Watts is saying something like, it's putting a beard on a eunuch. It's like gilding the lily. It's like putting legs on a snake. They're absurd constructs. It's making this concept that was perhaps fine on its own. Like, for example, the lily. The lily was fine, bro. The lily was just as beautiful before as it was before you started gilding it. The snake was just as operable and good in nature before you put legs on it. And on top of that, the shit doesn't exist. I'm not gonna go into the eunuch. Apparently that's some dude who chopped his dick off. I learned that today. But you put a beard on a eunuch. It's like, what's the point, bro? But I bring all this up because again, how can you be something that you're not? I think it's really important to understand that as men moving forward. That's all I wanted to bring up with this. You let me know what you think. But altogether, this gender war that we see going on, it's it's not exactly because of women. It is in nature because this thing has never fucking existed before. So this gender war is always part of our culture now because no one fucking knows what this is. No one has this downright packed. That's why there's so many dating coaches, so many dating gurus, all this crap on dating and all this advice on this shit just because no one has a handle on it. Because no one ever can. It was invented. And I think that's why this gender war thing is perpetually going to be a part of our society moving forward, unless something dramatic changes, which I don't think it will. Personally, the cards are in woman's favor right now in the West. The cards are in the ball is on their court. Women have the power to change a lot. Are they? Honestly, I highly doubt they will. I highly doubt they will. I think all that's going to happen is male disposability will kind of just keep going up, and more men are just going to opt out of this society. And who knows what happens after that? Who knows? Anyway, deuces.